Despite how awesome the Chomper looks, it seems like it is the most clowned on plant throughout the Plants vs. Zombies series. It's certainly not the worst out there, but time and time again the Chomper is either unreasonable to use, outclassed by a similar plant, or just flat out bad. It's had some highlights though. The Garden Warfare series and PvZ heroes definitely come to mind. But I'd like to go through every Chomper there is and find out which are the best, which are the worst, and just how many versions of this character we've seen throughout the years. Let's rank every Chomper ever. Compared to the pea shooter or sunflower, there's a lot less Chompers to go through. Because of this, I plan to cover a lot more concept art and little one-off Chompers just to fill our list up and see a bit more of the hidden versions a lot of you out there probably never seen. There's some really cool Garden Warfare variants out there that were never completed. I'll also group in a few other Chomper-like plants, just a few though. That means our list for today includes, and don't you dare skip this part, the Chomper, 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 and of course, the one, the only, Chomper. Chomper isn't even gonna sound like a word anymore by the end of this video, and I'm warning you now, do not take a shot every time I say his name or you will zombify yourself. Without further ado, let's find out which of these Chompers are the best at chomping, and which ones I wouldn't mind a Zomboss stomping. Of course, we'll start out with the original, the classic, Chomper. I have always loved the original design. He's a beast like no other in the first game. The idea for this character could seemingly come from multiple sources. Obviously, a Venus flytrap makes the most sense, but in terms of fictional characters, Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors is pretty dang similar, as well as Piranha Plants from Mario. Despite all these potential inspirations, Chomper still feels so unique to me. Anyways, let's get to what he can actually do in the game. There's a lot of single-use plants like the Potato Mine that can kill a zombie in one hit, but there's not a lot of long-lasting plants who can do so. Chomper gulps down zombies in one bite, so to counteract this, he takes a long time to recharge. A very, very long time. Walnuts are the Chomper's best friend, as he's gonna need some defense in the meantime. Look, a Chomper's digestion system is slow, and because of this, well, he's pretty widely considered one of the worst plants in the game, just objectively. But here's the good news. This is a Chomper tier list. If they're all bad, we still gotta spread them out based on each other. So thankfully I can say the first Chomper is classic, despite being pretty dang slow, evening out to a nice B tier. I really love seeing concept art for the first PvZ game and how all these classic characters could have looked in an alternate timeline. Let's start with the first game's concept, looking as basic as a Chomper could possibly look, I think. I'm really glad they changed this one quite a bit, giving the little guy actual details. D tier. There's another image of Chomper and Potato Mine concepts that looks a lot nicer, and actually might be the second step after that initial image. I'm not mad about it, I think it's kind of a cute look, but I definitely still prefer the one we got. I do not want to think about Chomper swallowing zombies whole. If Chomper was Indivore, he would be a much less endearing character. I'll say C tier. Next, for PvZ 2, they made some fun concept drawings, including one based on Audrey 2, which is awesome. Apparently they tried making him red as well. Could also just be referencing a Piranha Plant too. I'll probably throw all these on the list. There's even some for Garden Warfare, and these are all truly insane. I love how he turned out, and to even imagine one of these other freaks being in the game instead scares me dearly. Anyways, on the list, of course. And let's finish this section with his DS sprite. It's extremely charming, but it'll go and be alongside the original. Now that we've learned about the hybrids of PvZ, let's include them here, since they are based on the first game's art style. And for people who keep asking, they may have originated from a mod but appeared in an official Chinese game, PvZ Original Edition, so technically they count for our list. First up, Garlic Chomper. Literally just fusing an onion to its head and coloring the whole thing white is a choice. Rather than eating zombies, it simply deals some damage and sends them to another lane. It's more of an attacking garlic than it is a garlic chomper, I must say, but it's an interesting idea. Very funny, but realistically, C tier. And if you thought that was absurd, then here is Spikeweed Chomper. One of the least likely combinations I could possibly think of, other than like a Potato Mine maybe. It is quite literally an upgrade to the Chomper though, just objectively. It still eats zombies, but others can walk over him while he's eating. Oh my god, I take it all back, this is a genius combination. I'm not saying S cause he looks like Poopy, but sure, A tier. And our first variation of the Chomper is here, the Super Chomper. He's actually sort of the only variation of the Chomper. We can get ice and fire and goop and every single element for the pea shooter, but heaven forbid Chomper gets anything more than the color green. But let's not be mean to the Super Chomper. Look at this thing. He's super because he can eat all the zombies in front of him, not just one. He also spends less time digesting. The one downside is he has super low health, but it's not like regular Chomper is known for his defense or something. Super Chomper is a pretty decent upgrade to the original, I'd say. Compared to it, I think it should go in S tier. Lastly, before moving to Plants vs. Zombies 2, there was a cancelled Chinese game called Kingdom Edition, which would have been very similar to the Great Wall Edition, I believe. The only reason we're talking about it here is because there's some concept art from it, and for some reason that included a 3D Chomper with eyeballs. Who wants you to come here and get a kiss? How is this concept art? How would this have appeared in the game? Well, I mean, it's obviously S tier, right? Finally, let's move to the second game. Let's start this with a reminder that he cost real money and could not be obtained any other way. Chomper is not a great choice for something like that, considering it is still not a great plan. Back when I was just starting out, Chomper went on sale and I knew I just had to buy him. And I have genuinely not used him once until this very moment. He looks pretty good in the new art style, but personally, I prefer the original completely. This one's a little too clean, a little too boring for me. Thankfully, they did give him some buffs, with a shorter chewing time, and he takes little bites out of zombies who can't be digested. That ability has a lot of decent uses, although I'd argue you might as well use Bok Choy for that instead. Otherwise though, they did not suddenly make Chomper good. In fact, they just made a bunch of other plants like Toadstool who are just superior in every way. Compared to the first game's Chomper though, this is clearly an upgrade, especially with the plant food power that vacuums up a few zombies in the lane, burping away all the extras, which kinda solves the biggest problem Chompers typically face. Let's give him the A tier he deserves. There are a ton of plants similar to the Chomper, almost all of which are better, but I'd have a hard time saying the Toadstool or Olive Pit were Chomper variants. Really, the only plant in the history of the series clearly cloning the Chomper is the one and only Snap Pea. I've already extensively gone over my love of the Snap Pea in the pea shooter video, but here's just a quick recap. The Snap Pea has the capabilities of a normal Chomper, but when he's done eating, he shoots a zombie head. I love his plant food too, grabbing some zombies across the lawn and then shooting a barrage of zombie heads. It's incredible, I love it, and get an S tier already. So, moving to PVC2 China, Chomper received a super costume, which is unrelated to the Super Chomper. Confusing, I know. As far as I'm aware, these costumes just have new animations and make your plants look drastically different. I would have tried unlocking it, but I truly genuinely don't know how, so I might not have any footage of it here, we'll see. But I definitely have the image. Check out the Steel Chomper in all of its metallic glory. I think this is an insanely cool look, and I'd love to see this as an actual variant to the Chomper with unique abilities rather than just a costume. Because of that, let's say A tier. The shooter games will be the largest section of this video by far. It was the first time in the series Chomper was treated with respect he deserves. Pea Shooter and Sunflower have about 10 variants each, and Chomper has 13. So many new looks, so many awesome moves, and a brand new 3D take on our classic freaky plant. They truly knocked it out of the park. I'm not sure they could possibly have done a better job, I really don't. This is a highly detailed 3D version of the character, perfectly executed. And also, the T-posing version of it is genuinely so freaking funny, dude. Following the trend of every Chomper in goddamn existence, the entire Chomper class is widely regarded as one of the worst in the game. It's just so hard being a melee-only character, and instant-killing zombies is really fun, but if even one person sees it happen, you are just going to die. You are completely useless while trying to swallow a zombie. Chomper's main 3 abilities help him out quite a lot though. His goop is ranged and helps immobilize zombies for you. Same with Spikeweeds, a fun twist on the normal use for these guys as they ensnare zombies, begging to be bored. And lastly, the most fun one, burrowing. You're basically untouchable down there apart from a few zombies' abilities, and then you burst through the ground and swallow a zombie whole. It is very fun, I can't lie. I am not good as a Chomper at all. Every time I eat someone, I just get killed by another player. My KD ratios are always a maximum of 1. You're supposed to be sneaky and pick off singular zombies, but that's just not my kind of playstyle. While he has some alternate abilities like the Chomp Cannon that can hit enemies from far away, you're otherwise left with attacking close up at all times. Meanwhile, pretty much every freaking zombie has an ability that helps him get away from the Chomper, from rocket jumps or just canceling his burrow as the engineer. It's hard to be a Chomper main, and the original Chomper is maybe one of the worst ones to choose from. Let's start this section with a D tier. I have no idea what compelled them to create a Hot Rod Chomper. What the hell do these two things have in common with each other? I have to assume they just wanted a super fast Chomper first and came up with the design after. I do love how you can rev your engine and stuff just flying around the stage. Of course, the main drawback is his much lower health. Still, when your main problem is being slow at everything and you can't run for cover as a Chomper, then having a crazy boost of speed during that time is hard to hate. He's got the Need for Speed. Wait, what the hell? That sounds like a freaking sex thing. The speediest Chomper is an A tier for me. Toxic Chomper could not be more basic. They just dipped the guy in some primordial ooze and called it a day. I think it's a little boring, and to make things worse, he might be one of the worst Chompers in the game. Scratch that, one of the worst characters in the game. He has a toxic spray for his main attack now, chipping away at the health of zombies over time, as well as just poisoning anyone within range. This guy must be stanky. But he deals so little damage and has no health or defense or regen benefits that you're better off just choosing the original. F tier, sorry buddy. Power Chomper is the electric variant, which is an interesting choice for a Chomper. It's also quite different looking in both games, starting off as just purple, which he already was before, so then they made him blue, probably just to differentiate it more. Electric powers make zombies nearby also take damage, but doesn't have a damage over time sort of effect like the Toxic Chomper. Because of this, it technically has higher damage, but it probably evens out in the end, so who really cares? It's a blue freaking Chomper, and he's not bad. I usually do better with him than most of the ones we've covered so far. Both can go in B tier, sure. Our last elemental of the group is the Fire Chomper. It's what you'd expect, very similar to the Toxic variant, just with fire instead. I believe you get more damage over time with the fire though, correct me if I'm wrong. I find the fire variants designs all very one note. There's never any fun twist, they're just orange with a little flame on their head. He kinda goes in the middle of the two in C tier, I'd say. I cannot believe they made a Chomper based on Count Chocula, mostly because it looks nothing freaking like a vampire. It's cool, I can't deny he's one of the more badass designs here, it just doesn't fit the name I feel. With this variant, when you get a zombie, you heal. You drink the blood of your enemies and it makes you stronger. I think this is great for offline modes, but I can't say it's amazing in an actual game. Plus you have less max health, so it's tough to recommend. I do think he's cool with a solid idea though, let's say B. Back to the objectively bad Chompers, here is the Armor Chomper. He has more health? That's great. What's the downside? He's slow as shit, dude! They just made a complete opposite version of the Hot Rod Chomper, which makes sense on paper, but making a slow Chomper is not a good thing. Look, I know there are Armor Chomper mains out there, and I congratulate you on being skillful with a difficult character to play as. Taking damage for your team is a noble act, and I'd love to tell you I'm good at that, but I'm just not. In terms of design, I think he's pretty fun actually, with all those jagged, hard edges along his typically round head. The armor variants are just tough to sell, man, so I sadly had to give out another F tier. I really wish Chomp Thing was just the toxic variant of the character and we could have gotten another more unique design instead, because this is a cool Chomper based on the Swamp Thing of course, and I love all the overgrown swampy details on this one. His whole gimmick is to regenerate health quickly. Taking bites or swallowing a zombie and then ducking for cover ASAP will allow you to stay pretty dang healthy. But doing that as a Chomper is obviously a challenge at times. A lot of people really hate this one. I still think they could have definitely given it toxic abilities and health regen and just cut out that green loser, but I do not mind the Chomp Thing personally. I'd put him above the original at C tier. I can't believe the Chomper received the honor of quite possibly the most rare variant in the game. When we've seen time and time again PopCap cast Chomper aside, refusing to make him a good plant, finally he receives the respect he always deserved. I present to you all the one and only Unicorn Chomper. Look at those massive horse teeth and rainbow tongue, what a mythical beast. I obviously do not own this character, as it was awarded to players who reach max rank in the first Garden Warfare game. That is a massive workload that I'm not sure would be worth it for a 30-second section of this one video on my channel, so I really hope you understand why I didn't freaking unlock this thing. Wait, what the hell? I did unlock it? This must be magic. This must be A totally legitimate and well-earned prize just for me. Anyways, his burrow move has been completely replaced by a new ability, Rainbow Warp. It is so awesome just warping to a zombie, eating them, and then warping to safety. While I do think burrowing is really fun, it's clear that this ability makes him superior to nearly every other Chomper. On most Garden Warfare tier lists, it's probably a B or an A tier even, but compared to our Chompers here, it's gotta go in S tier. And I got the Twilight Chomper too? Man, I'm better at this game than I thought. You can just straight up pay money to get this one though. It's not a big deal, but it is sort of an annoying in-app purchase. I guess it's worth it though, as far as I've seen, Twilight Chomper is at least as good as the Unicorn, if not better. From a design standpoint, it feels somewhat lazy, just an edgier Unicorn, but I suppose they wanted to keep the Rainbow Warp in theme. Except it's not a Rainbow Warp, this is a Twilight Warp. It moves a lot farther, but you only get to use one. Sneaking up on zombies is much easier, or potentially you could save until after you eat someone, then get a big warp away. I originally thought that seemed like a downgrade, but it's not. If anything, it's better. S tier as well. In Garden Warfare 2, we got one last elemental Chomper, but they actually put some personality into this one. The Yeti Chomper has cute little horns and a furry exterior, rather than just coloring him blue. Though, to be fair, the Power Chomper did that already. But having the ability to slow down and freeze zombies is already part of Chomper's moveset, with his goop and spike weeds. So it's hard to believe this wasn't the first element they chose for the Chomper. His Arctic Belch also launches snowballs, giving us our first consistent ranged Chomper. I think it's one of the best. A tier. I was a fool for thinking the Disco Chomper would somehow be easier to unlock. You have to open random loot boxes until you just randomly unlock it, but that means going through the thousands upon thousands of regular, silver, gold, diamond, and gem versions of every single cosmetic in the goddamn game! It took 30 million coins for me to unlock Disco Chomper, and I was so exhausted at that point I didn't even bother recording it. There is no possible way I'm ever gonna like this one now, I'm sorry. It's basically got a party time mode. After eating 4 zombies, you get a 30-second speed and attack boost. It's probably best for stuff like Garden Ops where you eat a lot of smaller, weaker zombies. I don't know, I still hate his perfectly round head and perfectly flat teeth. I'm giving him B tier. But quite possibly the greatest Chomper to ever exist is our favorite Cheetos mascot, Chester Chomper. It is insane that this is even real, but holy shit, is that incredible. They truly went all out. The sunglasses are amazing, and they even gave him a cheesy goop ability and replaced spike weeds with Chester weeds. That is certainly something. I don't think he's that much better than the regular Chomper. In fact, he has less health, but who are we kidding? What other arguments are there? It's freaking Chester Chomper, dude! S tier. Sadly, Chester Chomper didn't get a bobblehead since he didn't return for the second game, but the other 12 got one thankfully. Let me quickly throw them on the list. They're all mostly cute, but the unicorn ones look really strange without their horse teeth. I might honestly like the original the best, it's kinda perfect. Anyways, let's move on. There's actually one last playable Chomper to cover thanks to the delivery missions. Assistant Manager Bitey works at the local Chomper Pizza, and my god, do they have some speedy delivery. I really like these time trials, getting to parkour around the backyard battleground is fun. He's the most agile Chomper out there thanks to that jetpack. Let's say A tier. There's kind of an insane amount of unused variant concepts for the Chomper. I'll probably go through them pretty quick since they all just have a singular image. Our first one got put alongside the Stuffy Flower and Rock P, both characters with really fun designs that thankfully made it in the game. But neither come close to being as incredible as the Shark Chomper. It works so perfectly, he looks so incredible. Even the seaweed feet are amazing. That's an S tier concept. This image here has 2 new ones, a Bling Chomper and a Venus Flytrap Chomper. If I'm being honest, neither are that great, although I think the latter could have made for a fun design. Then there's some Aztec Chompers that I like quite a bit. I think the first one here is the best. Then some Dark Chompers? I can't quite tell what the theme is here, but I'd say the second one is my favorite of the bunch. This group is titled Invincible. Maybe after eating you'd have some invincibility frames or something like that. And the Rainbow Effect, looking like a superstar from Mario, fits that the best, I'd say. Here are some Mystic Chompers with a really great pink color that would have really made them stand out. I really like all of these. I prefer the first one, I suppose. I can't think of what substance these Chompers are made of, is it mercury? Either way, I think that would be really cool, especially if he had a ton of jiggle physics as he ran around. I do like the spikiness of the last one, but they're all pretty much the same. Last up, we have the least unified group of chompers. I'm thinking maybe the theme was Hunter. One is clearly based on the Predator, but I'm not sure calling it the Predator Chomper would be a great idea. I really like the first one of these though. I think I'm going to add all these to our list, which is a lot, I know, but they're so cool. The art was done by Darren Rawlings if you're curious. Alright, let's get the last couple Garden Warfare characters done so we can move on. Look, I don't care if this is just a damn trash can, okay? A Chomper trash can is awesome, and how dare you deny that? S tier. What's better than that? A gigantic Chomper dinosaur, that's what! The cactus one is leaning towards a more cursed category, but Chomper is 100% blurs. I mean, it's a T-Rex with a Chomper head. How hard is that to mess up? S tier, of course. Before we move to the other media and merch section, we should get Battle for Neighborville out of the way too. They didn't change the design too drastically, but it feels like they tweaked it kinda to perfection. I really love this look for the Chomper. Once again, I apologize for the poor visual quality. My computer can only play this game on the lowest graphic settings. Let's make this quick. He can still plant spike weeds and burrow underground, but now he has some grody goop, a projectile that creates a toxic cloud to hurt and immobilize enemies. I think I do like this more than goop, since multiple zombies can be affected by it. As far as I know, this Chomper is not as bad as most of the Garden Warfare ones. He kills in just a few bites, it feels so powerful. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'd say this is an uncommon BFNW. S tier. You know what's not? The countless costumes we're gonna have to rank back to back because they're technically named NPCs, starting with Teddy, who I just so happened to run into a player wearing this costume when I logged in. He's a big old Teddy, kinda cute I guess. Not for me, C tier. The Bitey brothers are big old bucktooth slack-jawed zebras, such a strange one, F tier. Mrs. Veilbiter has these disgusting lip fillers while she pukes cake. I'm actually getting nauseous, F tier. I also found Bingo Bongo, the Chomper wearing a clown getup, refusing to admit they're a clown. I hate the lips here too, but it's better, D tier. Landfill is a good pun, but he's pretty boring, just wearing a patch of grass as a mohawk, D tier. Lastly, Dale Boat is a cool old fisherman, and my favorite of the group, B tier. I'd love to hear about all the comic variations. So far, the only one I've managed to find is Chelsea the Chomper, our first female version, I think. She's got a cool eye patch despite not having any eyes. I think she's normally just a regular Chomper though, and she looked great in the comic book art style, A tier. I had no idea Chomper was a sellout! Anyways, when I'm feeling chompy myself, then I like to get out a box of today's sponsor, Schmello Jesh. I'm kidding, of course. Now let's watch this commercial together. I have no idea what they were saying, but holy shit do I want that lactic acid drink. Watching a 3D Chomper dump that shit down his gullet is so wonderful. And who knew that's how he becomes a super Chomper? These 3D Chompers are so charming to me. Let's give them both S tier. What's that? Is that the merch alarm? Well, gather around kids and let me promote a bunch of wacky Chomper products that I will be promoting for free for some stupid reason. Anyways, Chomper Halloween costume! Man, I thought we'd never see another one after the mushroom video failed me. This trio genuinely looks complete now. It is insane how perfectly they all line up. This video was completely worth it solely to get this Halloween costume trilogy completed. S tier, baby. Alternatively, this Chomper hat could totally work as a costume. It just makes perfect sense. Your face sticks out of his mouth. Actually genius. I unironically would like to own this, but then I think about the practicality of ever wearing it in public and I put my wallet back in my pocket. Still S tier though. There is quite a few toys out there too. Some Garden Warfare action figures of course, ranging from extremely accurate to very basic, as well as stuff like this. Just a massive head with a disgusting mouth because they couldn't bother to paint his damn teeth. Put them all on the list. I wanted to give a special section to these Minimate figures because how the hell do you screw up Chomper that bad? His head is a freaking ball with the mouth cut into. You could make Pac-Man and then paint it purple and it would look better than this shit. F tier. Remember the biting Primal Sunflower? Well, she got a twin. Chomper makes way more sense for a toy like this anyways. It looks pretty perfect, S tier. Holy shit, I can't believe this. Chomper, gun! Chomper, gun! Chomper, gun! Chomper, gun! Chomper, good! I'd be chanting Chomper slippers right now if anyone had bothered to make any. Thanks a lot, you ruined my bit, humanity! Nah, instead let's close out with some plushies. As we all know, there's only a few official ones out there. Although the list did just get a little bigger thanks to YouTube's. But can we at least admire some fan-made ones? Like, look at this one. Now that's a plushie worth stopping to admire for. But none come close to our last merch item, the plushie. Some plush makers out there searched for the first image of a Chomper they could find, and somehow this is what they saw. So naturally, they closed out of Google immediately and made this. There's even some that include the juicy All-Stars ass sticking out. What's funny is, it wouldn't even be a bad plush if it didn't have a freaking face on it. Still, it's now the greatest PVC plush ever made, so who can complain? Let's give it the S tier it truly deserves on an official Chompers tier list, shall we? We are very close to the end of our list, but we've still got one good game to cover, PvZ Heroes. I truly cannot believe we got an update to this game, by the way. I don't think it completely ruins the tier list I did on it, but some of the heroes are definitely different now. It was really crazy playing the game right after the update because of how broken everything was. I've never experienced that with a game I knew so well. It was kind of exhilarating. Anyways, that's not the point. We're here to talk about the beast, Chompzilla. She's so shiny, so elegant. Other than some of the cards she can play, Chompzilla hasn't changed much. Her main power, to kill one zombie with the lowest health, is still the same. This power can be really good, especially if they only have one big zombie in play. But it's definitely not perfect, and neither is Chompzilla. But she's already one of my favorites to play as, so as a Chomper, she's S tier, no doubt about it. There's a couple Chomper cards too, and as tradition, it just has to be crap. The basic Chomper isn't allowed to be good, it's just not. The problem isn't with the card itself. It can kill a zombie with 3 or less attack when played, was just upgraded to have 2 health rather than just 1, and looks great in this art style. What's the catch? 4 Sun! I can't wait till turn 4 when I can finally play my weak-ass Chomper. Look, I get why it needs to cost so much, but I have to punish it accordingly. D tier. Wait, Chomper actually got a new variant. A Cerberus Chomper? That is pretty awesome, even if it is just 3 heads copy and pasted like all the other damn 3-headed characters in this stupid whack-ass series. Sorry, sometimes I just get the urge to rage. I'll be calm now, teehee. Anyways, this thing is literally the devil. It costs 6, it has 6 attack and 6 health, which is actually new, so it just started its devil worshipping. Not only being very beefy though, it'll also kill every zombie in its adjacent lanes after the round is over. That's really powerful, but keep in mind this thing has to survive the zombie tricks and the attack phase to do so. It has the capability to win you around, that's for sure. Just takes a little protecting sometimes. Let's give it an A tier. Our last game of the list is Plants vs. Zombies 3, so let's start with the first version of the game. Despite the Chompers looking basically identical, I think they're overdoing it with the spikes these days. They started off so small and now they take up half the head. Also, apparently this version is female, so not only, I hope one day she'll be mine, but also respect her pronouns, people. It's a Chomper, it works the same as always, but this game introduced taco abilities, and now she can burrow while eating. Almost as good as that Spikeweed Chomper, just not quite there. The wiki also has an image for her third taco ability upgrade, aka Super Chomper, its first appearance in the non-Chinese media. Can't pass up putting another Super Chomp on the list though, so let's give them both a B tier. It feels good to know I can't play this crappy game even if I wanted to. Welcome to Zomburbia's Chomper, looks clean as hell. This image goes hard, I really can't deny it. People be calling her a freak in my comments, and I can't deny that either. She works the same though, so this is sort of a lackluster end to our video, huh? Well, to lift their spirits, let's rank this Chef Chomper too, why not? B for the original, and S for the chef. If this list has taught me anything, it's that anyone can be a Chomper. Deep down, we're all a little bit chompy, are we not? Piranha Plant is a Chomper, Audrey 2 is a Chomper, Potbelly from My Singing Monsters is a Chomper. Deku Babas from Zelda are Chompers, the Man-Eating Plants from Crash Banooka are Chompers, Venus Flytraps are Chompers, Carnivine is a Chomper, Biontay is a Chomper, Chomper from World of Warcraft, and Chomper from The Land Before Time are obviously Chompers. There's Chain Chompers, Cheap Chompers, Gator Chompers, Pac-Man Chomper Champs, and even Chomper Nut Pucks. Chompers are anywhere and everywhere, and I think they all deserve a spot on our list. Well, that's the sort of thing I typically say during my wrap-up section, so let me also just say, I freaking love the Chomper. I think it's physically impossible not to. They're all so fun and somehow adorable, yet horrifying all at the same time. Compared to the Sunflowers and Pea Shooters, he's got a much more chaotic presence, and the sheer amount of sharp teeth filling up the screen right now definitely helps solidify that. I hope we get a lot more variations of the Chomper though, and continue to see him in each new PvZ game forever and ever. Thank you all for watching, and let me know who your favorite Chomper is. I think I'd have a tough time narrowing mine down, honestly. Also, I know I said in my mushroom video that I might be ending the series, but let's be real. These videos are still performing better than anything else I've tried in the past half a year, so if you still want to see more, I'd at least like to cover the Walnut too. If you want a Walnut Sona, then you better become a member before it's too late. Everyone who's already joined get to be Chompers, so don't miss out. Please consider becoming a member of the channel today. Thank you Patrick Barjan, Dojo Master, Keep, Gall Guy, Jep the Legend, Sheeper Ying, Test Monkey, Marie, Callum Ford, Perskill, Benetter Checky, Mr. Odell, Timor, Kuronov, Aaron the Ghoul, Freakish Smile, Border to Bordeaux, Pika Girl for You, Mirai, Geminot, Lewis, MD Switchy, Omegon, Christop Creations, Jonathan Biscoff, Lavatane, Green Man, Yeah, Okay, McCrazy, G Baldwin 005,
and Nathan Brown.
Man, some of those Garden Warfare concepts would have been so cool to get. I'm a little mad that Shark one never came to be. I'm just saying, if it's ever possible to get a third game, there better be a Shark Chomper, or I'm gonna lose it! You have to open random loot boxes until you wish... Sorry, sometimes I just get the urge to rage. I'll be calm now. I'll be calm now. I'll be... No, not that one.